Good afternoon, guys. Danna Alexander here from Prestige Dog Grooming School and the Everyday Pet Groomer. Today I'm going to be showing you guys a pet Westie style head. Again, this is a pet. So this is a pet version on soft, unhand stripped hair on the Westie. So I'm going to show you my best tips on how I handle these guys, and hopefully you get something out of these tips. Let's get started. Go. Just unput these, they're all out of the way. Okay, so we've done this guy in a 7-blade. He was ridiculously matted when he came in and was like the color of his table, so he's now white again. So I'm going to show you, I've left all around his head so I could show you guys how to set in these heads. So now you can use these exact same techniques for your Yorkies if you want to do a pet Yorkie style face. And this is a great technique for the Westie. So I'm just going to make sure his face is brushed out here. And make sure you're tangle free before you get started. These guys only need a little stiff breeze to tangle up. So this guy's got a ton of coat, which is nice, which is rare to see on the clipped Westies, but he's young and anyways, he's a nice boy. Shh, you're fine. Okay, so we're going to come in. I'm going to come in with my 7-blade, same length I did the body. I'm going to come right at the base of his skull, and I'm going to go a little bit light and then harder, just so I get a little bit more of a blend. Okay, and I'm coming right to I can feel the base of the skull at the ear. That's where I'm coming. Okay, and I'm going to wrap around that ear so I can feel the side of his skull, the side of my clipper. Okay, into his neck area. Since I'm a sitting groomer, I train all my little dogs to lay down for their heads, and that's how I like to do them. Again, I'm feeling that skull with the edge of my clipper, and I'm wrapping that around. It's key that you set in the head and find his head, neck, body before you try to scissor his head. We gotta find all this, but you can see this actually undercuts this back area. Stop, you're fine, lay down. So it undercuts under here. It's going to make this easier to scissor. So I'll show you how we do that. So now that I've come across underneath and set the back, I'm going to double check. I'm going to take out some of his beard inside. On a breed cut, I don't want to take out too much under here, like a doodle cut or something like that would be fine. But on a breed cut, we really need this profile to be nice. So you can see I've taken out, but I've left that full profile availability. Because from the side view, we have to get that nice look, but I love to save myself a little bit of time. It's okay, guys. He doesn't like his chin held, so he's a little bit finicky about it. What Westie isn't. Oh, stop, you're fine. No. And he doesn't like brushing. Another Westie thing. I know, but you're a good boy. You're actually a very nice little dog. He's getting a bit older now, but he's cute. Okay, so now you'll see clearing all that out is going to make my face shaping so much easier. But I just took out the base. So when I set his head down, you guys might have to come low here to see. Stop. When I come down, this doesn't pucker out. If there's hair all the way to here, that pops out, and then it makes it really hard to get this underline nice and scissored. Okay, so my first step with the Westie head is that I like to go in and touch my eye corners. I'm going to go in with my chunkers. I like them to be a little bit rough, not too perfect. They are supposed to be a terrier. And they are supposed to have beautiful heads, but not quite perfection. So I'm going to come in with a chunker instead of finishers. And as I come to the bridge of the nose, I really want that nice heavy hair parting it. So try not to take too much off the bridge of the nose on these guys. I'm going to come in between the eyes a little bit. Again, this is a pet. Show is different. And competition is different, but this is a pet trim I'm doing today. So I'll lightly blend. Stop. Okay, so just clearing by the eyes, making sure we're nice and clear. My next step I like to do is come in, and what I like to do is pull everything forward, and I like to set the brow in first. I know this is opposite of what I normally do, but with my Westie heads, I find, since we're going for that as round a look as we can get, I like to find their eyes and kind of get this visor dealt with so I kind of can decide what I want to do with the side hair. When you have a very round head, this goes for your Bijans, goes for a Shih Tzu that you want a perfectly round face, The key area you need to leave is this side hair. You cannot trim this side hair out. That's why I'm changing up how, if you guys have watched my videos before, you know how I do faces. Normally I would go and scissor the side first. This is why I'm going to do the brow first, because this, we need to preserve this hair to get that round. You can actually see that his face was probably taken really short last time. I know they've tried a few other groomers, so it's not. And you can see because it's almost only barely long enough for us to get that look already. So always keep that in mind. Don't touch the side hair if you want a really big round face. Leave the sides to last. So that's what we're going to do in this case. I am going to come in and set the sides of his eyes by setting my base of my shears on this outside hair and pointing to the outside corner of the nose. And notice that I'm using my thinning / chunker shear with the comb side down, and I'm combing up through the hair. This is going to give me a nice blend and lift. Now we want that bit of a visor, so I'm doing it very lightly. Again, up through the hair, wrapping around, and that outside corner of the nose into just dusting into the side. That's enough. You're good. This guy's a bit of a, he gets very nervous without his moan, so we just handle it as best we can. Stop. Okay. No more. Go forward, and when I aim it down, you can see everything that falls into the eyes. So I always like to aim my heads down to double check everything, because you really need to make sure that visor's not. So what I'm doing is I'm also dusting this top of this visor. So you see, we could just come in, I'll do this side, we'll scissor in just a visor. You can see a very straight edge visor. But I like to come and sweep through so that that all blends nicely. And I just do that by sweeping through with the comb side. Stop, you're good. See how that softens it all, so you don't have this really harsh visor. You don't want a big harsh visor. Okay, so now that we have his brow dealt with, you can see it's going nicely softly into his side hair. Same on this side. See why we needed to leave the side hair and not do it first? So now I'm going to come in and I'm going to deal with the back of the head and the ears. Now a lot of people think that the ears are tipped on Westies. They're not actually tipped on Westies. They're just very, very tapered short. But they're not like a harsh tip like you would do on a Yorkie, okay? So if this is a Yorkie, you're just going to do a harsh tip top with a 10. But on the Westie, it's actually supposed to be a nice fade effect. So how I do that, stop, is I set his ear down. And this is another reason I like to have my dogs lay down, is I have a lot more control, especially over ears and things like that. And terriers are one of those dogs that love to just whip their heads out of your hand. So I'm holding really close to the base of the ear, so I've got most of the ear available to me. I'm combing everything out, it's down, and then this way I have maximum control. So now he's totally laid down, so that's great. I'm gonna use a 9 on my wall, and just set him back to where I want. And then I'm just going to go very, very lightly and then hard. Okay, and notice I'm laying the ear over my hand, so I have support under it. Very, very light, and then harder as I come to the tip. Very, very light, harder, very, very light, harder. Just, all I'm doing is fading that. That's it, okay? Once all that fade's gonna be on the back, we're gonna do the same thing to the other side. Comb forward. Again, I've got more control with him laying down. We're gonna fade lightly and a little bit harder, using my fingers as support underneath. Okay, but I'm not coming in. If I was a Yorkie, I would just switch to a 10, come in a very harsh tipped ear, okay? This is different than that. They're not supposed to have that. If this were a Cairn Terrier, you would clip this entire ear quite harshly, okay? So just differences in the breeds, so just learn your little differences. Okay, so now that I've done that, I want to blend in the back of this head. So I'm going to comb everything out. And in this case, I think I'm going to enlist the help of a guard comb. So I'm going to come and grab my 3/4 inch, set it on here, and I'm going to come in reverse. I just want to lighten this a bit. Very, very lightly. Again, if I can do it with clippers, and I'm going to go over the ear and lightly up. I'm not quite going full strength. I'm just allowing it to layer this for me, which is going to save me time in my scissoring. Just lightly. So I want that volume. And sometimes layering hair gives you more volume. And that's definitely the case in this guy's case, okay? Now that I've layered that, I can come back with my chunkers and I'm just gonna blend this in. So again, we are blending into a 7-blade hair, but they like a full breed head. But because I layered all this nicely, it's just making my job a lot easier. And remember, we set in with that 7 and undercut under here, so wrapped around. So that's also making our job so much easier. From a profile view, now I can pull this out. You gotta pull everything from the back of the ear out. And you need to make sure that's a nice straight up and down line going down. Right from back of the head down, okay? And do what you do to one side, do to the other side. So we're gonna go straight down. Deal with that on this side. So I'm going straight down. And again, this is much easier because I already undercut with my 7-blade. Okay, so remember we went with the 7-blade and undercut. So see how much easier that made scissoring this back of the head? That's why there's a method to the madness. I'm just scissoring straight down and blending. Don't worry, we'll get the side afterwards. You just want to make sure that this profile is perfect. So combing straight back. So if you want to come from this view over here, see how when I comb straight out, you need to have a straight stop. Straight up and down. And blending into where I blended the head, okay? I'm not worrying about this curve right now. I'm just getting this nice and straight. Stop. Okay? So now that the back of my head, my ears are layered, now I'm gonna deal with the ear itself. So how I like to deal with this, I like my ears quite harsh. It's just a personal preference. You can do this with thin shears. I'm gonna do it with a straight shear. I'm gonna fold his ear right in half, right to the tip, and I'm gonna comb both sides. The front side, make sure you're getting all his cheek hair too, and the back side. Now remember, we've already scissored this nice. That's why this is the next step. Okay, when I fold it in half, now I'm gonna line up my straight shear with my cheek hair and straight up to that tip. Okay? And just quite harsh at the top. When you let it go, it's gonna have that nice finish, okay? And then you can just come in and touch it up. Okay? You can see from a side view, we get a really nice line. Okay? And that's right down into there. And then I can soften it up just slightly. So now we've got a really nice ear going into this cheek. So what we do to one side, we need to repeat to the other. So again, I'm gonna fold his ear right in half, so right up to the tip. Remember, you need to comb the front out, including his cheek hair, and the back out. And then I'm gonna line up my shears with his cheek hair and stay straight up to that tip. Okay, when I let it go, see how it's nice? And then all I've got to do is lightly touch up. And we know how hard that's to do. You can grab his ear if you need to, touch up that way. I'm softening it a little bit. But notice I haven't touched the cheek hair at all yet. Okay? So that gives us some cute little Westie ears. Now notice we've taken nothing off the top of the head, just the back. So I'm just looking at this. I feel like this needs a slight bit of layering. So I'm going to come in and just slightly go in a circular motion with my my chunkers. And I'm just lightly dusting. Remember, we kind of layered this with our 3/4 inch. So this is just a light process here. But now that I've got the ears done, I want to complete this part of the head. So just lightly, just going around. But I'm trying not to take too much off the top of the head. I want this volume filling in between his ears. Okay. And see how nice we have that top of the head? So we get that nice Westie look. So we get that nice Westie look with the ears, but not a big dip in between. We want to preserve as much volume as we can get. Okay, so now is the time. You see our Westie head is starting to come. The whole top part is coming together. Okay, see that? Cute little guy. Now is the time to deal with the front muzzle. This is where I like to deal with the front muzzle. I like to come in, comb everything forward, stop. And that's why I think it's any type of tangle touch. Tangle? See, it wasn't so bad. No, no. Okay, forward, everything past the nose. I'm going to bring everything past the nose that I can. I'm even holding it with my thumb. And you're going to take everything straight up and down, past the nose, level with the nose, okay? Do it, be bold. Take it right off, okay? What we do to one side, we repeat on the other side. Coming over, again, everything past the nose, get it all up there. Again, how you comb is vital. Nice and slow, get that hair to hold there for you. Again, everything past this nose needs to come off, straight up and down. Level with this nose. What that's going to do when we comb this out, see how it'll just nicely, softly blend into the side of his face, okay? That's going to start our curve angle down, okay? We'll take a look at that. We're going to lightly, we've had a few COVID haircuts with this guy, so we've got this growth here. So you either have to deal with this and let it grow out, or you need to trim it. I'm going to trim it because I know that his owners are going to do it if I don't do it. So in this case, I'm just going to layer this. I would prefer to leave the weight grow, but I know that his owners are just going to come in and trim this anyway, because that's what they always do. So may as well work with it. Okay, so now that we've got our front set in, we've got our back set in, we've got our ears set in, our eyes set in, you see how we're starting to have a shape? All this is gone because we clipped that out with a 7. So we've just got this nice curtain that we can work with. So I like to set my angle first. I like to think of a triangle. Again, you can use these same techniques for a Yorkie face. So we've already set this in. Do you see how it's coming softly down? I'm just going to come in and I'm thinking of a triangle shape. Okay? Stop. And I'm coming straight across, all the way across, including this front mustache and goatee. Notice, see how I'm doing that angle down? Now I'm going to repeat it with coming right where the ear is, and I'm going to come and do this angle down, the back side of my triangle. Now all you have to do is take the V part out, the point out, and I'm just going to do it softly. We just want a nice, soft, round look, and this technique works great for your Yorkie style heads too. That's enough. So now when he aims his head down, look what happens. We get this fallout here. So that's why you have to look at your dog from different angles. So I need to trim this up a bit and get this angle sharper because it's too heavy there. And notice again, I'm using the comb side of my shears going through the hair. We want to train the hair to wrap underneath naturally. Now I like to always teach you guys who have watched me a lot, I always like to teach step by step, steps that you can follow for multiple faces, not just one. So I said you can use this for any round head or any Yorkie style face. Okay, so you see we have a very round face. Now if you want to do a not quite so large face, you could layer this all with your 3/4 inch first and then follow the same steps. It doesn't matter. You can do it long like I've done. You can follow the exact same steps no matter what length of head you want to do. Just starting out with always finding your head, find your neck, find your body, and then follow the steps, okay? Comb, comb, comb. We need to double, triple check. So after I comb, I'm going to find other things, but every time you comb should be less and less. Okay, and now is when I'm going to come in and lightly dust that cheek. And all I want is that layering to stay. Okay, but we see how we needed to barely touch that cheek? If I touched the cheek in the first place, we wouldn't have enough to create that round look from the front. Okay? Now what we do on one side, we must repeat on the other side. So, who remembers the steps?
Cindy says that looks so good and clean.
It is very good and clean, and it is super easy. Grooming is not complicated, you just gotta know the steps. I'm going to lightly, eye is heavier, so I'm just going to take that. No, that's enough. Okay, so step number 1 was to comb everything down, and we're going to start our first angle. It was already started. Remember, I'm thinking of a V shape. I always think of other shapes. If you want round, you can't just think of round. As soon as you start to scissor around, you take something too short and it just ends up off. Or you end up not symmetrical. A lot of groomers struggle with making their faces symmetrical on both sides. This is how you more easily create symmetrical faces, is by following these very simple steps. I know the angle I want down. So this way I know this is going to be symmetrical to what I did on the other side. Again, follow through all the way over. I can't just scissor this part. I have to follow through on his goatee just like I did the other side. Okay?
Deanna Zell says, thank you, Danna. I hope I pronounced your name right.
I just read Danna.
She says,
And
thank you, Danna. And
you're
Stephanie
welcome.
says, I'm saving this video to watch while doing my next Westie for sure. Candace is saying, for me personally, I like it shorter because his body is short. Can you address that, Danna?
Exactly, and if you want to go shorter, the steps still remain the same, but I would have clipped the face in maybe a 1 inch. You could clip the whole head in a 1 inch and then follow these same steps and you would just get a very short Westie style face. And you could do the same thing with a Yorkie. You could layer with a 3/4 inch, so you could clip the entire face, entire head, and then start where we started this video. Okay, if you wanted a shorter one, not a full hand scissored one, then start this video after you've clipped the entire head. So set it in with your 7 body length, then clip your entire head with whatever length you want. I'm gonna say not shorter than a 1 inch or a 3/4 inch because you're gonna end up with way too short of a face, and then you're not gonna get these angles. Okay, but then you could just start the video at that point and follow the exact same steps. You're just gonna have a shorter version.
Marcia asks, are those your Sassy Dog scissors?
These are Sassy Dog from Angie Patrician and Mike Kitney. So LA Sharpening and Mike Kitney's place is on Vancouver Island. It's called Super Sharp Mobile. Sassy Dogs. These are their chunkers. So our next angle to create this V is straight down.
Can you set a link how they can find them? They're all asking, Danna.
We are I know that they're creating a website. I'm working on it with them and for them because I'm trying to help out. It's me, I'm very behind, guys, so I'm working my best, but they will have a link and a website. I believe that Mike Kitney, if Mike, you want to jump on here at some point, I believe Mike Kitney does have a website already for his shears, so.
Okay, because everybody's asking where to get them.
If not, the shears are available on Facebook, so find LA Sharpening or Super Sharp Mobile, so LA Sharpening or Super Sharp Mobile on Facebook and message them through there for now, but there is going to be a website that rolls out for these guys. And I'm not paid to advertise these at all. They just happen to be my favorite shear because the quality is there. These are a lifetime shear if you look after them. The quality of the metal's there. The history is Angie Patrician was a groomer herself. She knows what we need. And her prices can't be beat for the quality. That's why I pick these. It's not because I'm paid to. I just love them and the quality's there, so why not?
We're asking, will you ship to the US or to the UK?
They do ship to both the UK and the US.
Perfect. Okay.
And
all right.
So we have this triangle created. So now we just need to take the tip off the bottom. Okay, and this is a much easier way to get a round face than to try and just create the round yourself. Plus you're going to end up with a symmetrical face on both sides, okay? So I know it's super hard to get that symmetrical face. Any other questions? Keep them coming. You're fine. And again, I'm combing through the hair with my comb side, okay? Through. Okay, I'm just combing through the last millimeter, but what it does is it wraps that hair underneath, so when he shakes his head out, it's going to stay down and fall back to its position, and it trains the hair, right? You can see this guy had a pretty good shape coming in, but that's because we have his hair partially trained. Mind you, he's had a few COVID haircuts in there, but you know, everybody's facing that. So see how we get this adorable, cute round head? Comb out and double check your under layer. But again, this layer is going to be very minor because I clipped it out ahead of time. Remember when we clipped out all that? That's why. But you can't clip out too much because we need enough weight to finish this profile. But that saves a ton of scissoring time and actually gets the face to lay really nice. Okay, so last but not least, we need to come from a front angle, comb everything down, and we need to marry these worlds, okay? So I'm looking from a side view. I need to dust this in a bit more on this side.
Marcana, you're asking if you can, I think you're saying you're in Kentucky and you're asking if she can host one or do an in-person class. I don't think anyone can travel right now, so possibly online. Danna, you could speak to that. She's asking, do you host?
Yeah, we do
or
host.
one's in person in class?
We
But I
definitely
believe you're
do.
in Kentucky, Marcana, so I think you're kind of hooped right now.
Because so we definitely can host classes. We have private classes here at Prestige Dog Grooming School at our multiple locations. And so you can have private classes with me or our instructors anytime. But of course we have to get to Canada. So.
Yeah, I don't think they're letting anyone travel right now.
Okay, well he wants to stay up, that's fine. So now that we have him, I double checked his underside here. I'm fluffing it out. Okay, and we're having to marry those swirls. Stay. No, stay. You have to be a good boy. I know, you're very talkative. You guys should have seen this guy when he was a puppy. He was the freakiest adorable dog ever. He was still very adorable. He just are kind of a mama's boy now, but that's okay. Okay, so we see, and now when I put him up, I can see that I'm uneven on one side. So when that happens, I like to aim the head down, okay? And I always finish my dogs with aiming the head down. Can you guys see where my mistake is? So this is the easiest way for you to prepare a face. Aim the head down and comb out. So you can see it's very clear and points out, it screams out to you what needs to be scissored.
Candace is saying, I would love to see him when he did shake his head to see how it all falls back into place. Okay, I guess we'll get him to do that when he's done. Yeah.
Shake your head. Dickens. His name is Dickens, guys. I knew that.
Dickens.
Dickens, the Westie, cute little
Marcana
guy.
says, good to know. Thanks, you're amazing. And we'd love to see you, Marcana, when the borders get open, if that ever
Come
happens.
visit us in Canada. Come when it's warm. Oh no, Kentucky gets cold though, doesn't it?
Kentucky has winter. Yes, that you have winter in Kentucky, I think. Not as cold as us,
Again,
but you have
aiming
winter.
my head down and I'm looking at the side view, right? So when you fluff out, this is also going to prevent that hair from flying everywhere when they shake your head out. Okay? And again, combing through. You can't just come in and scissor this all. You have to comb through it. That's going to help this all fall back into place. Okay? Because we want it round this way, round this way, round this way. Do you see? So aiming it down and lightly going through it. Okay, what I do to one side, repeat on the other side. And he's heavier on this side, he's got more coat on this side, which is fine. We just need to acknowledge it. So I'm going to take a bit more out of the cheek because he is heavier on this side. You're okay, mister. I know. And again, I'm combing through the hair lightly. See how cute we're getting? See, we're getting there. Little layers, guys. Little layers. Combing everything past the nose again. We'll see how we can see what's a little heavy. So we can just come in and gently pull that. Same on this side. Gently pull. And I'm just doing super fakey things, but I want to give him a really nice face. So I'm just coming in. And you want to fluff that out as if he's shaking his head, right? Oh, you stop. You go, boy. No. Now I'm combing slow. You gotta comb slow so you can see where things need to be adjusted. Combing is definitely half of scissoring, is how to comb. A lot of people don't comb enough when they're scissoring. So when I do one side, I always go double check my other side. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Comb through. Stop, you're fine. And follow through that line. You're fine. Mr. loves to talk. You're a very talkative little guy. He's like honestly the nicest dog ever. I know. He even lets us blow dry his head for the most part. That's amazing.
He let me blow dry
For
today.
Westie, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. He was
actually
okay
lets
with
us
it.
blow dry his head.
He let me.
But see how we're getting that cute look when he... So we get that nice straight look on the sides, but it's soft. You get that enough volume in between. Want to fluff up. I like to still aim his head down. We need to pull all this forward and see what's falling. If you want to get the perfect head, you got to be able to layer that. Just, again, I'm just sweeping back. That's just going to layer that perfectly so that It's not falling in his eyes constantly. So that's why you want to check that with the heading down. So I'm just going to double check my underside one last time before he's finished here. Combing through again. And if you guys want to get one last look before I put him away.
There's Dickens.
Super cute little guy, super sweet and easy. Then you can use these same techniques for Yorkies, any round style face, anything you want. Okay? And now, sometimes what I like to do if I do want a sharper look is I'll come in and I will dust everything with my curve shears just to get that little bit harsher look. But I kind of like the very natural look, but we do a lot of hand stripped dogs, so I like that look myself. But if you guys aren't used to that sort of hand stripped look, then you may want to come in and dust everything so that you get a more finished look. It's whatever you guys want. There's no rules in grooming, we just all help each other out. And I like my, you're fine. That's all right, buddy. Our cute little Westie head, quick and easy. And if you guys, I hope those tips were helpful, and we'll see you guys soon. If you have any other questions, just ask us. And say bye to our cute little Westie here. Bye. Thanks, guys. Talk soon.